Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick Armenis, and in today's video, I'm going to cover off my Q4 Google Ads and PPC strategy for e-commerce in 2021. I always go in depth during Q4 because it is an extremely busy and sales intensive time of the year. So guys, there is a lot of content in this video. There will be timestamps below if you want to skip through, but please watch straight through to the end to get my entire strategy, particularly the end portion, because that's where I go really in depth as to exactly what Google Ads strategy I would use if I was most people. Okay, so let's get into today's content. Okay, so guys, for those of you that do not know, you're probably wondering, why should I listen to Nick? I'm the founder of Armenis Digital, an e-commerce agency specializing really in Google Ads, but other PPC ads as well. We've been able to scale brands past 6, 7, and even 8 figures. Does that mean we have every single answer? No, but we've got plenty of experience and lots of knowledge in this area. It's all we really focus on, particularly e-commerce, mainly because that's the area of growth, and particularly during the pandemic, that kind of just exploded. So although we were already focusing there, it pushed us even more. Also, we do have a Google Ads group for e-commerce entrepreneurs that are in the Google Ads space. So obviously lots of like-minded people there if you want to join. And I'm also the creator of the Google Ads playbook for e-commerce as well. So for those who didn't know, that's who I am. Obviously plenty of experience in the Google Ads space. I've been using it for the better part of a decade. So that's why I've kind of put this together to try and help people. So what happens to PPC ads during Q4? Guys, it actually, the landscape does change, okay? And I'm going to tell you exactly what happens during Q4. So this is what happens to your ads. What happens to ads during Q4? So realistically, in any PPC platform, search volume explodes. Now, does it explode in everything? No, because obviously you still have seasonal elements and other things there, but anything kind of related to gifts or that could be given as a gift. But in general, search volume explodes because people buy things for themselves. People have a bit more free time with holidays and things, so they spend more money. And we've got ourselves into the habit of, this is the time of year we spend money. So everyone kind of does it. And people obviously are doing research on Google. They're looking around, they're seeing what's going on. And so volume explodes. CPCs also increase a bit. Now, in my experience, they increase anywhere from 5 to 10%, sometimes a little bit more depending on the category. So they don't go crazy, but they do increase. Some categories obviously go much more than that. So the result of that is, obviously competition gets quite fierce, and you do need to be on your game in all aspects, not just in your Google Ads account, in absolutely everything, because if you're not, the competition is going to come, swoop in and take your customers. So the flip side to that is conversion rates increase because more people are actively buying. All right. So there are people still researching and things like that, because Google isn't just the place where people buy, but people do a lot of research. But conversion rates actually increase because people are in that buying mood. So you do get the flip side of this, right? So there's obstacles, but there's also benefits as well. And it's a time of year you can do quite well. So with so many holidays, you need to watch your ads really carefully. You're going to be watching them far more carefully and making more changes than normal. And as you know, if you've been watching this channel for a while, and if you have, please leave a comment below and give the video a thumbs up. And if you're new, subscribe. You'll know that I'm not a big advocate for making tons and tons of changes, but this is the one time of year where you're going to be watching it more. You are going to be making more changes. Lastly, guys, I can't emphasize how big the opportunity is this time of year. And if you get it wrong, you will probably stuff up your entire sales quarter and possibly the sales year. So you need to really make sure you're doing all these things later in the video right. So what do I normally do? I will look to the past to determine the future for e-commerce, because obviously if you've been running your business a while, or if you have been a manager of ads for a while, you can look to the past to see what has happened. So now is the time to jump in ad accounts, jump into your Shopify dashboard, into your accounting, and what happened in the past year. So I want you to review your previous years. Take the time to analyze your sales figures from the last Q4, and then also how are you tracking in recent trends, right? So are you above trend, or are sales starting to slow down? Because this is going to give you an idea as to what's going to happen this year. And obviously you're not going to get 100% because you can never forecast 100%, but you'll be able to forecast how much stock you'll need, and you can work with your suppliers and manufacturers to make sure you have the correct inventory, because always shipping times internationally and domestically increase during this time of year. But this year in particular, we've seen, because of COVID-19, the supply chain system is really almost broken at the moment, because prices of containers have increased a lot. There's not as many planes flying internationally, so obviously cargo can't be put in excess cargo. There's not as many flights for actual mail as well. Containers are being delayed in ports through customs. Everything's slowed down, so you need to get your forecast really accurate and have a buffer there in time and in quantity. And realistically, you should have already done this realistically for most businesses, but obviously you still have some time to work with people and make sure you get the right quantities of things. So number 3, be prepared for a huge increase in customer service requests. So go back and have a look. Did you get a big increase in customer service requests? Did you cope? Do you have better systems now? Can you improve them? Can you cut down on anything? Can you help your staff? Just be ready for that. Always have backup payment processes there as well, guys, because the last thing you want is a payment processor issue during Q4. It will cost you a ton of money. Okay, so make sure you've got that and all of these things covered, and you'll be in a much better position, both in your PPC ads, because your PPC ads will not function if you have no inventory, right? If you have no inventory and everything's out of stock, none of your Google Shopping ads are going to be working. So how do we dominate the competition without blowing our wad, without blowing all our money? How do we get into this competitive landscape and dominate during this extremely competitive time of the year? So to dominate the competition, there are 5 steps, okay? So use a proven system or process to test and scale your Google ads, okay? This time of year, you're probably going to be doing more scaling than testing, but potentially it is also a good time to test any new products you've got, anything you think would sell better this time of year. And if you do need a bit of help with this, I will leave some links below to videos, but otherwise take a look through the channel. Even some of the older videos are still very relevant. Not that much has changed with Google Ads. So go through, make sure you've got a system and a process to test and scale those ads. Don't do it too fast. That's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give people. When you scale budgets too fast, it normally ends in tears. But during this time of year, if something is firing, also do not be scared to increase the budget fast, because it's actually one of the things that may undercook your sales is if your budget is too conservative. And I find that a lot of businesses are just scared to increase that budget. So number 2, take the time to optimize your merchant feed. This is extremely important, and you should do this before the busy time of the year. So spend the next, 4 to 6 weeks really optimizing that feed. I have a very good video on that, which you can either search optimize, or I'll leave it in the links below, and it will talk you through exactly what you need to do to make sure that that feed is in tip-top shape. You also want to optimize it so that it is not at risk of getting banned, because all you need is your Merchant Center account to be banned during that time of year. Last year, a lot of accounts got banned, so just be careful. Number 3, know when and when not to scale. So a lot of people get too eager, and what they will do is they'll crank a budget thinking that increasing the budget will save their ads and save their store. It's just not the case. If something isn't doing well on a low budget, increasing the budget is probably not going to save it. Sometimes, in very rare occasions, I have seen a higher budget work better for something, particularly for a smart campaign. But generally speaking, on lower budgets, if your products aren't doing well, on higher budgets, they're probably not going to do well either. If you're too conservative, you're going to be missing out on sales. So there is a fine balance. So if you're getting a good return on ad spend, keep slowly increasing that budget. And it can do absolute wonders if you've got a product that's in demand and doing well. Like if you keep increasing that budget, sometimes ROAS can actually go up for quite a bit of time as you get more and more sales, more and more data. So number 5, work on optimizing your website and backend. So that is super important as well. In terms of the ads, the merchant feed is super important to optimize, but your store likewise is a big part of the equation. Make sure it looks holiday-like, make sure it fits your brand, make sure it looks professional, and that you've got a good back-end system where you're doing upsells, cross-sells, your email marketing, text, SMS marketing. You need to have all these things in place as a bare minimum. And ideally, if you watch this year's Commerce Plus event, the real big push is, engaging, getting people to engage with your brand, so actually building a brand, and then giving people a truly unique customer experience on your website. E-commerce is changing. You need to keep up to dominate the competition. So the next section, ethically hijack competitors, keywords, and listings. So I want to show you how you can actually really find out what keywords your competitors are using and look at their listings and see how we can kind of hijack elements from there. Ethically beat the competition. Use the keyword planner in Google, guys, to see what competitors. So use the keyword planner in Google to see what keywords competitors are ranking for. Now, to show you that in detail, it takes quite a bit of time, so I will keep a separate video for that. But basically, go to your keyword planner in Google Ads, grab your competitor's URL of a product or website, put it in the keyword planner in the tab that says, search via website, and it will show you all the keywords they're actually coming up for and ranking for organically, and the ones that are already in your ad account. The next bit is to regularly review the Auction Insights tab. And when you do that, you'll get a good understanding as to who your competitors are on Google, and then deep dive and start looking at what they're doing, guys, because if you're not regularly reviewing your competitors, you don't know if you're well priced. You don't know if you're saying the right things. Other people might be completely eating your lunch. So I regularly go into a Google shopping listing of my competitors and dig in and have a look and go, okay, is this actually, am I doing the best I possibly can, or can I do other things, right? So use Google Shopping and Search to review their listings. Think like a shopper. This is so important. I'll actually jump in quickly and really show you what I look at. But often, people go in there, right, and they just run their ads and they forget that there's a shopper on the other end, and they never look at their own listings. And if you don't look at your own listing and just assume it looks good, it's probably not going to be, right? And lastly, tools like SEMrush, AdSpider, and SpyFu are okay. Not great for shopping in my experience. They're better for text ads, and mainly in the US and bigger countries. In Australia, there's very limited data. So let me quickly have a look for you. So let's, for example, search for a product that I was recently looking for, swags. So these are used for camping. Now, someone asked me, okay, what listings are good, which ones are doing bad, and where could we improve, right? So this first listing here, the image is just too small, I would say, right? So if that was my listing, I'd go, how can I make it a little bit bigger like the rest of these? The other factor is color. I can't really see the color of this. And for this, if this was my listing, I'd say, man, I really need to get the reviews on board, because all these other businesses here have reviews and I don't, which isn't good. I do have it very well priced and I have a saving and a sale on, which is great, but all these other ones have a lot of other things that kind of draw my eye. I'd probably, even though this is first position, I'd skim right over it. And I'd probably put swag at the start. I know that quite often Google wants brands at the start, but I would put probably double swag and then June 4x4, King, blah, and the rest of it, right? Because that is the most important term in my eyes, and I'd probably do that to improve it. I'll try new images, would be the second part. I'd try some new extensions, maybe use a free shipping. And then I'd also go, maybe I need to change my price here as well, because I'm kind of in an awkward position. I don't have the lowest price swag. I don't have a listing that has other elements that I need, so like the stars. And maybe the color isn't the best either. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at for a shopping ad. Let's actually jump into the shopping tab as well and have a look through here. And straight away I'd go, yeah, the first one, the image is just too small. Same with this one. The image is too small, it's grainy, it's not good, and it looks bad. If my listing had this, I'd know that I'm at risk of getting banned, so I'd remove it. And this is kind of the process, guys. Jump in, and then I'd have a look at my competitors, like how are their pages laid out compared to mine. So this one in particular, let's jump in and have a look. Like maybe it's a really great page. Now, it's not a bad page. It's quite a busy page, but I know these guys do quite well. And realistically, the shipping rate should come up on here. So potentially they actually don't have in their feed their correct shipping rate, because normally Google would put a cost for shipping here if it was. So it would have like, $8.95 or $30 shipping or free shipping if it was. And then just have a look at the page and see, are there elements here that you can take for yourself, right? So they've actually used the celebrity here. Probably not a bad thing, right? They've got a 30-day guarantee. Australia's #1 selling swag, different elements. This is quite not a bad little landing page, is it? So I'd go, man, I probably have some serious work to do on my page. But let's get back to the presentation and move on to the next section. This is how you can beat the competition, guys. You need to get in there, get into the nitty gritty, optimize it, improve the listing, and then also make sure you're getting more conversions. Getting more conversions will get you ranked higher. Remember, a lot of the bigger brands do not do a lot of this stuff. They don't have the time, and it's probably just one particular product you're looking at of their millions of products potentially. So how to make sure you don't miss a single sale. Very important during this time of year. This might sound silly, but check your website or funnel, landing page, whatever you're using, is working and it's fast and it's working properly and people can check out easily, right? Make sure your ads and shopping listings are clear, accurate, as we've already gone through, and contain the relevant information. Because if you try and mislead or if it's not clear, you're going to get people clicking the ad and you're going to lose money, which you don't want. Offer free shipping if you can, particularly this time of year, guys. It's a conversion killer, charging for shipping. It just is. I know that certain products, it's unavoidable, but if you can offer free shipping, please do it. Your conversion rate is going to be significantly better. These days, guys, you need to have buy now, pay later, BNPL, or at least multiple payment options, but really you need buy now, pay later. If you're in Australia, you would definitely need it, and I know that other countries are really growing in that space as well. And then budgets during Black Friday and key dates, you need to be watching closely. You probably need to double, triple, you need to watch it probably every hour, every half an hour. See how your budget is traveling during those days and just absolutely crank it, guys, because if you don't, you're going to miss out on sales. And there's been many times and many stores that I've seen really undercook their sales during those periods because they left the same budget. I always run a $50 to $100 a day budget. That's all I'm sticking to. That's what I budgeted for. Where they probably could have put it to 500 or 1,000, made 10 times the sales and made more money. But, they were stubborn, they were stuck in their ways, and they kept it at that. So this is a little checklist you can go through to not miss a single sale that you possibly can. So the next thing that I want you to do is become an omnipresent ninja of a brand. So be everywhere, follow everywhere. Gone are the days where you can rely on one traffic source, guys, because we have ad account bans, different users on different platforms, and people need multiple touch points before buying. So utilize all of the Google network as well, guys. So get shopping, search, display, discovery, YouTube, be everywhere, at least remarket everywhere, right? So, and then be on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp. Be on Amazon if you can as well. TikTok is growing massively. Bing, Pinterest, Reddit, and AdRoll. These are the areas that I would at very least remarket to on everywhere. And if you want to do cold as well, do it, particularly this time of year. If you don't have the budget to do it all time of year, do it during this time of year. But really, you want to be everywhere. Everything should be consistent to your brand. And if you do this, you will 100% be able to do significantly better than if you didn't have this, okay? Next one I get asked a lot this time of year is what products or niches tend to crush it? So lastly, guys, the meat and potatoes of my Google strategy. Exactly what I do in the ads to do well during this time of year. So this is my stupidly simple PPC strategy, guys. I want you to have, firstly, a standard or smart shopping campaign. If you're asking the difference, probably just go a smart shopping campaign. It's going to be easier for you. Put all your products in there. Just leave that running, right? Budget-wise, it's up to you. I can't tell you what your marketing budget is, but personally, if you're not spending, $50 to $100 a day, it's probably not going to do much during Q4. You might get a few sales, but realistically, you want to have a decent budget, especially if you're using smart, because you need to give it enough information to start making good decisions and know when to start serving your ads. Keep it simple though. Keep it just to that, especially if you're not well versed in this area. If you want to learn more, tons of content on the channel to learn it. The next thing I would do is a Facebook dynamic remarketing ad campaign where you, again, use kind of your product catalog and remarket to people based on what they've seen, right? Works really well, can work quite well cold too. So if you want to try that, please do that as well. The third is user-generated content, or UGC, spread across it as the many remarketing platforms I said above, right? And if you can do cold as well, UGC is where it's at. For e-commerce, people want to see users using their products, and this is the strategy I would use for most people. The other element that I don't have on there that if you want to get a bit fancier is have actual properly designed things for the different holidays like Halloween, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, Boxing Day, and things like that. So this is a really simple strategy, and what can you expect during this period, guys? This is the sort of stuff that I've been able to achieve with my agency and personally. So last Q4, we scaled a well-known Australian bathroom business to an over $1 million day, which was on Boxing Day. We helped an e-bike brand hit just shy of 500K for the month of November. This was in their first year of running. So we were able to improve an automotive parts store ROAS from 6 to 25, which is amazing. And then we're able to diversify dozens of stores' traffic away from just relying on Facebook. We helped multiple stores hit 6, 7, and even 8 figures for Q4, right? So this is the sort of stuff you can expect if you stick to this and if you follow these simple strategies. This is all I did to get these businesses there. Obviously, there's other elements that go into it that you will get with experience, but it actually is just doing the right things at the right times, having a good product that's in demand, and following a strategy and knowing your consumer inside and out. You need to do that and build a positive brand around that. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. I wish you all a very, very prosperous Q4.